Hi, welcome back to Everyday Behavior. This month we're talking about sleep. And so there are several different topics we're going to talk about during our sleep unit, but really we're going to talk about all of the importance of sleep. Sometimes we don't realize how important sleep is to the brain. During sleep is when our brain repairs itself, when it kind of locks in new information or files or reorganizes new information. And it's vital for learning. Sleep also helps in emotional regulation. So just think about yourself when you're tired, how your emotions might be a little shorter. You might get frustrated faster. You might be groggy or inattentive. You might be irritable or angry when you're sleepy. Everybody kind of responds a little differently to sleep. There's one thing about kids, though. There's this point where when they get too sleepy, they get hyperactive or irritable, and they tend to run around. They kind of lose their impulse control. And so they just tend to race around and act silly. They have a hard time listening to instructions. And so you may notice this in your own child as they're about to go to sleep at night or as bedtime is nearing, that it seems that they hit this next level of energy. Well, that actually may be that the brain is saying that it's fatigued and they're losing their impulse control. They're losing that ability to focus or reason. And that what could be leading to some of that irritability or anger or kind of just general silliness at night. And so it could indicate that they actually need to move up their bedtime or they need more sleep. One of the things we often don't realize is just about how much time individuals need to sleep. We're pretty familiar with that. The average adult needs 8 hours of sleep. However, it's rare that most adults get 8 hours, but that's what the brain needs on average in order to function, in order to do that complete repair, to repair the body, to repair, fight off infection, to fight off viruses or illness or cold or any of those things. One thing we're not aware of, though, is exactly how much sleep children need. So we'll review this in one of our units, but really children need, depending on their age, anywhere between 8 and 13 hours of sleep. And so it could be that if your child is only sleeping when you're sleeping, or if they're not going to bed until 10 o'clock and they're waking up before you or about the same time as you in the morning, that they could be sleep deprived or not have adequate sleep. You also want to know the risks of not getting enough sleep. So I talked a little bit about some of those risks, but when your child isn't getting adequate sleep, they are at risk for increased accidents or injury. So what the research shows is that those individuals who don't get as much sleep tend to have more accidents or more frequent injuries. One of the most recent research or newer research is focusing on that individuals who lack sleep, their behavior actually could look very similar to ADHD or kind of that hyperactive, impulsive, or the inattentive symptoms of ADHD. And so one of the things that's important to rule out if you feel that your child may be more hyperactive than other children, or if you feel that your teacher or your child's teacher has been talking to you about your child's behavior and their inability to focus in the classroom, you may want to revisit sleep and see if you can change some of those sleep routines. We also know that individuals who have inadequate sleep are at higher risk for obesity or memory problems. We talk about sleep hygiene, and we're going to spend a lot of time talking about sleep hygiene or the importance of sleep and how to improve those nighttime routines. It's often very difficult for parents at bedtime. I have to admit, we really focus a lot on sleep at our house, but I admit that sleep and bedtime is one of the times of night that I find to be most stressful. However, you can reduce the stress. You likely will not eliminate the stress of getting your child to bed, but you can reduce the stress by following some simple guidelines, including a consistent routine, limiting electronics the hour before bed, the entire hour. And that doesn't mean just video games, but that includes any screen time. You're really looking at that LED exposure. You want to make sure that you make the room a comfortable environment. And so everything from turning off the lights, making sure that it's cool and comfortable in their room, that they have a good place to sleep is important. And then you really want to make sure that you keep your sleep and wake times consistent even on the weekends. And I think this is the hardest part for adults because sleeping in tends to be a reinforcer or a special treat for adults. However, by having inconsistent sleep on the weekends, it's actually not great for you or your child. And then you want to plan for those sleep challenges. You will have disruptions to sleep. And those could be things like time change, vacation, or holidays. And so we're going to talk about how to plan for those sleep challenges, but we're also going to talk about how to address sleep when sleep has gone wrong. So those are all the things that we're going to talk about. This is just a general overview. If some of these topics seem interesting to you or something that you want more information on, I encourage you to watch this specific video addressing those or watch the entire series. However, you can follow us on Facebook at Everyday Behavior with Dr. Mary Ann to see our resources through the month. And you can also hit the red subscribe button below to watch our additional videos and see when we have new videos released. And all of our resources are housed on the website at everydaybehaviors.com. Thank you and have an excellent day.